Hey guys, I just spent however long recording the Cryptic Critiques for IGOR, and I just realized I was holding my microphone backwards. So this is gonna be in the video before everything. You're gonna see this before it, so the audio is gonna sound a little scuffed, and I'm sorry, but I am sick, and I do not feel like re-recording it. Next week, I promise it'll be better. I won't be that stupid again. I didn't realize that holding it a different way would change the audio quality, but it did. But yeah, that's it. Enjoy the video. Goodbye, everybody. Igor, released in 2019 by Tyler the Creator, being his sixth studio album right after the hit Flower Boy. This album is amazing. And one thing before I get into the review, I am a little sick right now, so that's why I sound a little weird, so sorry about that. And if I look a little tired or sick, that's because I am sick. And so just ignore that. Next week, next review, I'll be back to good health, I hope. But that's it. Enjoy the review. Like I just said, this album is amazing. Whether it's the production on this album, the lyrics, the story it tells, everything about this album is just so good. Like I just said, the production is amazing. If this was just on the production, it would be a masterpiece. Because there's so many little details in this album. Some that I just figured out. This is my fifth time listening to this album. And I've listened to these songs so many times. And I just figured out these small little production details that make me appreciate the songs more. And I bet none of you have even heard them because they're so hard to hear. You have to turn it up to full volume and listen to it in complete silence, and you might just hear it. You won't hear it on your first time. You might not hear it on your 10th time. You might not hear it on your 100th time. You might never hear it. And that's something that I can just appreciate about this album. All the tiny little details. I just love seeing those. I'm on my 20th listen to a song and I just hear something that I never noticed before. It just makes me appreciate the song so much more. Now, this album takes place from the point of view of a character called Igor. This character just represents Tyler the Creator, and it's just him. Now, what my understanding of the story is, now I could be wrong, so please correct me in the comments, but it goes from Igor's theme to Running Out of Time, and that's basically him falling in love with a person, where running out of time is him saying that he's running out of time to make this person love him. And the next few songs, New Magic Wants a Puppet, shows a failing relationship, how they don't love each other anymore, and Tyler wants to be with this person, but he can't, and all that stuff. And then the last few songs, What's Good, so Are We Still Friends, is him accepting that he doesn't love this person anymore, but he still wants to be their friend. Now, of course, that could be wrong, so please in the comments correct me if I did make a mistake. But I know this story is a little basic, but I think it's just the way he tells it. Everybody's been through heartbreak. We all know the sad albums. If you listen to a Juice WRLD album, you've heard this before. But I just think the way he portrays it is just so amazing with the lyrics. The lyrics are so hard-hitting and personal. Like the song Puppet. I think Puppet is probably one of the saddest songs I've heard recently, and that's mixed between the depressing lyrics, the slow beat in the beginning, the way Tyler actually sings it, and all the other stuff just combined on this album. Now, New Magic Wand, of course, you're gonna turn on New Magic Wand and you're just gonna bob your head. You're gonna go out for the song, but you realize that this song is also pretty sad. You wouldn't want you and your SO to be a depiction of this song, because this song is pretty toxic. And if your relationship looks like that, I'm not saying I'm not Cupid, but hey, you might want to end that. I'm just saying. This album, in my opinion, is a complete mixed bag of songs, but that's in a good way. You got songs like Igor's Theme, which is just most of it is an instrumental and there's barely any lyrics on it, but it's still really good. You got New Magic Wand, which is very different from Earthquake and Running Out of Time. And then you got Are We Still Friends, which is just every song on this album is completely different from another, and it's amazing. I think it's just cool to see all the diversity amongst the tracks and the way that Tyler executed it. It's not a terrible album, it's amazing. I think all the diversity, it makes it so much better. It's not all just one same song. It's not just your normal hip-hop album. This is very different, very experimental, I'd even say. Even though it's not that experimental, it's just very different for Tyler. But speaking of the track list, this is only 12 songs long, one of them being a 12-second interlude. And so this album is very short, only 40 minutes in runtime. And so I think that actually adds something to this. You know, most people, reasonably, would be like, oh, you know, it's 40 minutes. I wish there was more. And yeah, I wish there was more too. But I think the 40-minute length makes it so easy to just put on and listen to it. Even if you don't like it, you might want to just listen to it again. It's not an hour and a half, so it's not going to take up so much time to actually listen to it. And there are surprisingly a lot of features on this album too. The main ones, you know, Kanye West on Puppet, Playboi Carti on Earthquake, but there's ones that you probably didn't know, like Lil Uzi Vert on IGOR's theme and CeeLo Green on Gone Gone Thank You. Now, speaking of the tracks, I love most of them on this album. There are many of them where I still listen to on a daily basis, but there are some that I don't like, admittedly. I think I Don't Love You Anymore is pretty bad compared to all the other songs. It is the worst on this album, definitely, but it is also not that great. I kind of like it, but it's just not something I would listen to again, and it's honestly one of the songs that I would skip on this album. You know, I might listen to it, but I might also skip it when I'm re-listening to this album. So, What's Good, I think is fine. It's not my favorite. I think it's probably the second worst, right above I Don't Love You Anymore. But yeah, I do know some people like that song, so I'm not gonna hate on it that much. But there's just so much to love about this album, like how all the songs are different, the production on this album, the features are all really good and surprising because he doesn't listen, so when you first listen, you're like, oh my god, that's Kanye West, and oh, that's Playboi Carti, wow. But, you know, that's just me saying this album is amazing for a couple of minutes. Let's just get on to the ranking. I'm going to give Igor by Tyler, the Creator a 9 out of 10. Now, I know you're saying, what? This album's amazing. It deserves a 10. And yes, I would give it a 10, but I Don't Love You Anymore is the thing that is holding it back. I saw someone say this a while ago when I was doing some research on this album. Someone was like, oh, this album is one mediocre song away from being perfect, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. This album is amazing, but there are just some songs, really just two for me, that hold it back from being a 10. You know, even if What's Good is still on this album, I'd still give it a 10. It's just I Don't Love You Anymore I'm not the biggest fan of, which is weird because I think I would like that song. I don't know, it kind of fits like what I listen to. The part where Tyler's like, I don't love you anymore. You know, that was probably a horrible rendition of it. But I just think that song is not that good. It is pretty bad, honestly. It's bad for Tyler, it's bad for this album, and it's just bad in general. But yeah, I'm giving this album a 9 out of 10. It is really good. I do recommend to listen, even if you don't like Tyler or hip-hop or anything. Just listen to it. It's amazing. It is definitely not like any of his first 3 albums, so don't worry. And it's also not like Flower Boy or Call Me If You Get Lost. It is better than those two, but it's also very different. This album really stands out in his discography, and it's just all around amazing. Give it a listen. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Sorry this review is pretty short. Sorry if I sound weird or look weird. I am sick. But next week, I promise I'll be better. And that's it. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. Comment down albums that you want to see. And I'll see you guys next week. Goodbye, everybody.